everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm sharing some more DIY Christmas decorations and projects that you can use to make your home feel really cozy this winter season. I'm getting them out kind of early so that you can get prepared and you can make them in advance because I know some craft projects take a lot of time. If you saw my last DIY decorations video, I had a lot of bright colours going on, so for this video I wanted something a little bit more traditional, not too traditional, but a little bit more traditional, so something that will suit everybody's style. I'm gonna stop talking and boring the heck out of you. Let's get into these DIYs. So first up is this sequin quote cushion cover. This is so very simple to make, so I'm going to show you right now how I did it. You'll need to start with a plain cushion cover which you can make or buy, then use a pencil to lightly draw your quote to make sure that it fits in the space you have. And then to go over the quote, I'm using this sequin string from Tiger and just applying tacky glue to the pencil lines and then adding the sequins over the top. This is a fun way to upcycle some of your old cushion covers that you might have lying around, and it really doesn't require any skill whatsoever, although if you're not confident with your hand lettering, you can always print a stencil from the internet. Once you've got your whole word in place, leave it to dry, and then the next day you should have something that looks a little bit like this. Mine says "Let it snow," but there are so many Christmassy and winter phrases that you could do instead. Next up is this snowball light pom-pom garland. Once again, this is a very easy project, and you guys know I love pom-poms, so I had to put in a pom-pom craft. So let's get into it. You will need some LED Christmas lights that don't emit heat, or you can use just plain old string. You'll need some wool, and for this I'm using a pom-pom maker, but you don't need to use one of these. So I'm just going ahead and wrapping my thick wool around the pom-pom maker. The thicker the wool, the quicker you can make them and the fluffier they will be. I love using a pom-pom maker for crafts with loads of pom-poms, but you can do the old trick that I've done in many of my videos where you wrap it around your hand many times and create the pom-pom that way. So I'm just sealing up the pom-pom maker by tying this in a knot a few times to make sure it's really nice and tight and that none of those strings are going to go anywhere. Once that was done, I just pulled apart my pom-pom maker and I have one very fluffy pom-pom. How many times have I said pom-pom? Anyway, after giving it a haircut, I made a good few more in cream and some more in grey, and then just used those extra strings that I used to tie off the pom-poms to tie them onto the lights. Please just make sure to use LED lights that don't emit heat just so that you don't start a fire, and don't leave these unattended. But if you are worried, you can just use a piece of string instead and just make a plain old garland. This is how mine turned out. I've spent a lot of my time recently pinning stockings from Anthropologie that I really want. They have such cute Christmas stockings, but they can be a tad expensive, so I decided to go ahead and make my own sweater stocking this year. So simple to make, so all you'll need is a sweater. I picked this up at a car boot sale, and you'll need a template. I actually just made this by myself, but you can print one from the internet. Line one edge of the stocking up with the seam of your jumper so you don't have to sew down one of the edges, and then cut around it. My camera died here, but as you can see I was just cutting around it, leaving about a half an inch of seam allowance. So just pretend that you can see me cutting right now. Anyway, once that's done, go ahead and pin it into place so neither of your two pieces are going to go anywhere, and once you've done that you can then run it through a sewing machine or hand stitch. Oh, and by the way, make sure that you've got the right sides facing together so that when you go and turn this back the right way round, you have the front of the sweater instead of the insides. So go around the whole stocking until you've got all the way to the very end where you've got the opening, leave that unsewn and then turn it right side out, and then you can go ahead and decorate. You can decorate with so many different items. I'm using pom-poms, of course, because what else? I've got some really nice thick fluffy ones here. I ended up doubling them up, so I had even more of them on one strand. And then I went in with some other tassels and things like that. You really can let your imagination run wild here. You can add scraps of fabric, sequins, there's so many different things that you can do. I just kind of raided my craft box for these items. I also made 2 cute little tassels very simply by wrapping the wool around my hand, and then, you know, you've seen me make tassels before, it's kind of boring, but I stuck those onto the side with some hot glue. And then I also added a piece of rope to the inside like so, and I added that to the seam. This was just so that it can be hung up on the wall or on a mantelpiece. And this is how mine turned out. I would love to see if you guys recreate this, what kind of colours and pom-poms and trims that you used. Do show me on Instagram or Twitter. Moving swiftly on, how cute are these tiny little hats? I am obsessed with them, and I think I want to make about 100 of them. They're so cute and they really don't take much time. So what you need is a very thin piece of cardboard. I will try and put the measurements on screen of that now, and then just go ahead and curl that round into a circular shape. This is what it should look like, and then once you've done that, you can use some sellotape to tape it in place so that it's not going to go anywhere. You'll also need some wool, and what you're going to need to do is cut about maybe 30 to 40 pieces to make sure they were the same length. I just doubled it over many times and trimmed off the ends. All of my pieces were about 30 centimeters long, but you could probably make them a bit shorter than this because I did have some excess. So what you're going to do is fold them in half to create a loop. Pull the loop through your circle of cardboard and then pull the ends through the loop. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing here. It's very simple. Just keep repeating this step and make sure that you do it in the same way each time. So if you pull the loop through the cardboard every single time, you want to do it that way rather than pulling the ends through the cardboard. Otherwise, all of your knots are going to be facing in different directions. Once you're done, you should have this weird jellyfish looking thing that looks a little bit like this. So this is what's going to create the rest of the hat and the bobble. So take another piece of wool and then tie this around all of your extra strands to make a hat shape. Double your knot to make sure that it's secure, and then you can go ahead and start trimming off all the excess dangly pieces to make a nice little pom-pom for the top of your hat. This is going to take a little time to shape it because it's going to look kind of triangular at first, but once you're finished you should have a nice little pom on top of your hat. And these are the 2 I created. I'm totally going to go ahead and make loads more. I think the one that looks best is this purple one that has the mixture of different colors running through the threads. I think it looks more hat-like, but you can go ahead and make these in any colors with any thickness of wool. And are your ornaments looking a little bit plain this year? Do you want to spruce them up without having to crack out the paints and the paint pens? Well, if you do, you can always try this hack. It's very simple. You'll need some flash tattoos that you might have had left over from a few summers ago and some ornaments. So what you need to go ahead and do is cut your flash tattoos off the piece of card and then literally just apply them to your ornament as you would a regular tattoo on your skin. It's so simple. Just be careful of where you place the tattoo. You want to make sure that it's nice and central, and then just use some water on a damp cloth to place it on top of the paper and transfer that tattoo. Gently peel the paper off, and if there's any wrinkles in the tattoo, you can use that damp cloth to very gently just push them out. And then this is what you should have. I tried this in a variety of different colors, but the gold works the best, so I would definitely recommend cracking out those old flash tattoos that you might have in a drawer somewhere. I'm really pleased with how this turned out because it literally only took a few minutes to make. That is everything for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you're getting crafty this Christmas season. If you did like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And I'll see you guys in my next one. Have a great day and goodbye.